Hello once again. This is your professor, Danny Araneta Cabulay, for the course Accounting Information Systems. And we are currently in video lecture number 12. So we're still continuing with chapter 6. So this time we will still talk about a little bit about payroll and then we proceed to fixed asset system. Okay? So, malaking tulong talaga kapag ang isang company ay gumagamit ng isang computerized payroll system. And they do the payroll in batches, particularly in large chains of companies or multiple offices like, alam nyo yung mga fast food chain. Ang kanilang payroll ay centralized. Okay? So, sinasubmit ang mga reports sa head office and then it takes about 2 to 3 days to process them and then pinapasweldo ang mga tao through their ATM accounts. So again, that's an example of how payroll can be processed in batches. Okay? So usually, they do it by area. Like for one particular area, there's one payroll report and so on and so forth. Now, so ang human resource management system ng isang company ay pwedeng ma-improve. Especially now with modern technology and there's a lot of apps available and new software that's coming out, it's a work in progress. Okay? Akala mo, latest na yung technology yung ginagamit mo. After 2 to 3 years, obsolete na siya. There will be a better and faster and more efficient technology that will surface. So you always have to keep your ears on the ground so you would know exactly that you can actually benefit from the latest technology. Okay? Now, how you process the salaries of your employees, their benefits, as well as accurately produce payroll that are timely, then your employees will love you for that. Okay? Now, what are the key features of a re-engineered human resource management system? First, you talk about the personnel. You can make changes to the employee file in real time. So, hindi na yung empleyado after 1 month pa siya makakasweldo. Actually, the moment he starts working, dapat nakapasok na siya sa program. Okay? Siya ay already may access na sa biometric system, meron dapat siyang account, bank account, and so on and so forth. Kaya yun yung mga requirements ng HR prior to starting their duty. Okay? So yun yung mga tinatawag na pre-employment requirements. Kaya tayo pinapakuha ng mga requirements like SSS, PhilHealth, Pag-ibig, para maipasok na siya sa system even before we start to work. Okay? Then cost accounting. So papasok na dyan yung job cost data either daily or in real time. Then timekeeping, yung pagkuha ng attendance, which we mentioned earlier. Napakahalaga niyan kasi kung mali-mali ang attendance report mo, chances are mali rin ang iyong payroll. Okay? So may magko-complain na empleyado, tandaan mo pag nag-complain na empleyado, hindi yan satisfied. So dahil mababa ang moral niya, hindi siya masyado magiging productive. So meron siyang impact sa productivity ng empleyado kapag mali ang payroll. You see the impact? And then finally, data processing. This still uses batch processing and prepares the reports in batches. The checks or the money that's disseminated to the ATM accounts are done in batches. Hindi naman siya pa isa-isa. It's really in batches. Okay? And then you post the entries in the general ledger. Now, so magkaiba sa automated manual and batch sequential systems kasi operations department transmit transactions to the data processing via terminals, whereas direct access files are used for storage. Many processes are performed in real time, and real-time access to personnel files required for direct inquiries. Okay? So makita natin yung pinagkaiba ng real-time versus batch. Okay? Of course, pag real-time, very minimal ang errors niyan. Pag batch kasi, pwede kasing may cut-off. Okay? Tapos, you can correct it in the next payroll period. Anong gagawin natin pag may nagko-complain na empleyado na mali daw yung kanyang sinweldo? The thing is, you listen, you verify, at kung tama naman yung complaint ng empleyado, you promise that you're gonna correct it. Okay? So you correct it in the next payroll period. Now let's talk about the next topic, fixed asset system or FAS. Fixed assets, this would pertain to property, plant, and equipment used in the operation of a business. So, ngayon tawag na natin yan PPE. Okay? Plant, property, and equipment. That's now the modern term. So, remember, the life of an asset is a continuum wherein the moment we acquire the asset, pagkabili pa natin yan, hindi pa yan depreciated. So, the acquisition cost or the historical cost is the amount that's posted in the books. As time passes, and we are using this particular asset, let's say it's a vehicle or an equipment or a machinery or a computer, as time passes, over the lifespan of the asset, we are using it. And each time we use it, a portion of the value of the asset is diminished. Nadidevalue siya kasi it's time-based. Halimbawa, bumili ka ng kotse, yung kotse is good for 10 years, okay? You will depreciate it over a period of 10 years. That means kung 2 years mo na siya nagagamit, 20% of that car is used already. So the value, the book value is approximately about 80% na lang, assuming that there is no salvage value. Okay? Pero pag may salvage value, you deduct that from the amount that you need to divide according to the lifespan of the asset. Okay? By the time you're disposing the asset, it will have no value anymore. Zero value unless there is a salvage value that you estimate at the beginning when you acquire it. No? You set the salvage value in the beginning. Okay? Alam niyo na yung formula on how to compute depreciation, right? So, the objectives of fixed asset system is that you acquire fixed assets in accordance with management approval and procedures. You maintain adequate accounting records of the asset, acquisition, cost, description, and location. You maintain depreciation records for depreciable assets in accordance with acceptable method. Of course, may mga assets na hindi naman talaga nagdi-depreciate. Yes, all assets, all fixed assets depreciate except a few, like land. Land does not depreciate. Building depreciates, okay, but land does not. If you have a collection like jewelry, artwork, those are things, or antiques, no, and you have them in your office, in your hotel, those are not depreciable. They appreciate in value over time. Okay, it's the opposite. Okay? Maintain depreciation, you have to maintain those records so you can keep a tab on ano na ba. Kasi anytime gusto mong ibenta yung asset, more or less you can easily compute the book value. You should one of the objectives also of FAS is to provide management with information to help it plan future fixed asset investments. Okay? For example, alam natin na yung ating mga equipment sa kusina, over 5 years, magluluma na yan. They need to be replaced. Computers need to be replaced every 3 to 4 years. Nagiging obsolete. So, you plan it already. Pag sinabing pinaplano yon, yung pagbili ng mga replacement, binabudgetan siya. So, every year, strategic planning ang mga officers, right? So, isa yan sa mga pinag-uusapan yung ano bang gusto nating bilhin this year? O kung hindi natin ma-afford, maybe next year na lang. Okay? So, those are the conversations. And finally, you want to properly record the retirement and disposal of the fixed assets. Kailan mo siya i-dispose? Kailan mo siya ibebenta? O kailan mo siya itatapon na? Okay? Kasi pag wala ng silbi yan, wala na siyang salvage value, tapon mo na yan. Unless you want to sell it. Kung minsan yung mga lumang furniture sa hotel, no? Pag gusto magpalit ng restaurant ng mga furniture, anong gagawin mo sa old furniture? Usually, pinapa-auction. Usually, binibenta siya sa mga ibang restaurant na gustong bumili, no? Kung restaurant furniture siya, or pwede rin naman ipasubasta sa mga empleyado. Okay? Tapos magbibid, mag-auction yung mga empleyado. So, asset acquisition, pag-usapan natin. This begins when a department manager determines that an old fixed asset needs to be replaced. So, you have to buy a new one, a brand new one. The purchase requisition is filled out. So, you may require an authorizing signature for items over a pre-specified limit. The FAS department performs record-keeping functions. Then, asset maintenance. You have to maintain the asset para hindi kagad ma-depreciate o maluma o mag-deteriorate, para may value pa siya. This involves adjusting the subsidiary account balances as assets depreciate. So, you will have the book value readily available at any time. Physical improvements must also be recorded to increase the subsidiary account balance and depreciation schedule. For example, yung swimming pool ng isang hotel o resort, pinarenovate. Aba, yung swimming pool na yan, sabi mo, it's good for 10 years. Tapos, on the 9th year, pinarenovate siya, dapat pag 10 years na siya, fully depreciated na, right? Dahil pina-renovate mo siya, you can now extend the life of the asset from 10 years to another 8 years. So, magiging 18 years na yung life niya. Kasi nga pinaganda mo, pinatibay mo, okay? So, in-improve mo. Okay? So, that's the purpose of improvements. Same thing with buildings. You can have building improvements, landscaping of the gardens, for example. So, you're prolonging the asset, the life of the asset when you make improvements. So, same thing with cars, di ba? Kapag yung mga kotse natin, pinapaayos natin, imbis na yung car natin good for 5 years, umabot siya ng 10 years, umabot pa kuminsan ng 15 years. Okay? Because you've done some improvement in the asset to prolong its life. Okay? Then, asset disposal. Ito na yung last stage. Siyempre, pag fully depreciated niya, we dispose it. So, we can, kasi pag luma yung asset mo, mahirap mag-maintain. Diba? Magastos ang maintenance expenses or repairs. Okay? So, mas mabuti pa, bumili ka na lang ng bago. Mas efficient siya, mas productive. At wala pang sakit ng ulo. Kasi tuwing nagbe-breakdown ang mga machines, sakit ng ulo yan, tigil production. So, you need to, may restaurant ka, tapos yung mga oven mo, pumalya. Ay nako, wala kang maibebentang pagkain pag wala kang lutuan. So you need to have brand new equipment or renovated equipment or better, kasi pag repair ka lang ng repair, lagi rin siya masisira time and again. Di ba? Bibigay din yan. So you make that decision to buy a brand new one or you just, you can still repair if you can tolerate, no? Okay? Otherwise, it's much better to buy a new one. Okay? So disposal of asset requires a disposal request. Okay? How will you dispose that? Will you destroy it? Will you sell it to the junk shop? Will you auction it? Baka may bibili pa na gustong pakinabangan. Kasi iba naman gusto bumili ng luma tapos nire-repair na lang. Kasi they cannot afford a brand new one. Kasi napakamahal, right? So usually, yung mga maliliit na restaurant, pinagtsatsagaan nila yung mga old equipment, old furniture, etc. Okay? So, dapat may report yan. Yung asset disposal report. Yan yung document na talagang dinispose yan in the proper way. So, it's an accounting record. Okay? Receipt of assets are digitally recorded in the system along with the information such as its useful life, depreciation methods, etc. Ledgers are automatically updated. Okay? Now, a computerized FAS automatically calculates the current period's depreciation. It updates accumulated depreciation and book value. And you could also post total depreciation to the affected ledger account or subsidiary ledger accounts. And finally, record depreciation transactions by adding records to the journal voucher file. Now, it will also post adjusting entries to the fixed asset control account in the general ledger, record losses or gains associated with the disposal of the transaction, okay, and prepare journal voucher records. Now, what are the controls in fixed asset system? Authorization to purchase, brand new equipment, authorization to dispose them. Yan, so kailangan yon. Kasi pag wala, baka mamaya bili tayo ng equipment, hindi pala budgeted, hindi pala authorized, hindi pala allowed, okay? And then supervision. So this is the threat of misappropriation requires constant management oversight. Bumili ka ng equipment para sa kitchen department, bakit nando sa bahay ng manager? Okay? Or bakit nasa ibang department? Okay? So, kailangan isusupervise mo. Saan ba napunta yung binili nating equipment? Ginagamit pa siya sa tamang purpose? Okay? And then you supervise, paano siya ginagamit? Kasi baka mamaya sinasalaulan ng mga empleyado, yung asset na yan, good for 8 years yan. Bakit 2 years pa lang sira na? Okay? So again, you have to really supervise what's happening to the asset that you acquired. Very important yan. And finally, independent verification. So the internal auditors of a company should periodically verify FAS records by establishing the reasonableness of factors used in decisions like what is the useful life. Sabi mo yung kotse mo good for 20 years, hindi na siya reasonable. Kasi dapat 10 years fully depreciated ng isang kotse. Ang isang equipment 5 years. Okay? Discounts, budgeting model, location, condition, fair value of the fixed asset records in the subsidiary ledger, programming logic of automatic calculations, etc. Now, let's look at a case study for this particular video. You see this beautiful campus in slide number 42? This is the beautiful campus of my former school, Far Eastern University in Manila. It's one of the most beautiful campuses in Metro Manila of a private school. Okay? We have about 14 buildings The college that I manage occupies about 6 or 7 buildings. So halos 40% ng FEU is the business school, which I'm managing. There are about 12 programs in the business school. Okay, accountancy is one of them. Okay, so here's the case. Let's read it. The retired computers. It is always a good practice to use the latest technology in business and retire old assets. FEU Manila has this practice of retiring computers which are more than 2 years old and replace them with newer models and updated software and apps. The retired computers are disposed by holding an employee's auction annually. So binibenta sa mga empleyado yung mga lumang computers. Pag 2 years or more na, dispose na yan. Sino namamahala dito? Yung IT department. Okay? They facilitate all the processes from the evaluation of the old computers. Sisintensya nila, o yan, pwede na yung i-dispose, no? So, ganon. So, they also do the requisitioning of the new ones. Sila nakikipag-negotiate sa mga vendors, sino ang magandang supplier, anong magandang brand, no? Basing on the need of the managers, of the academic managers. And installation of the units. Sila rin ang nagtetest kung nagwo-work, nagsusupervise, and retrieval and storage of the pulled out units. Yung mga luma, pinupull out nila, dinalagay sa bodega, tapos pinapasubasta at a given time. Okay? Kasi obsolete na yung mga assets na yon. Yan ang policy. 2 years, binibenta na yung computers. Okay? Sa murang halaga. Okay, here are the questions I want you to answer. Do you think FEU's practice is good and advantageous to the school? Di ba sila nalulugi nun? Nabili ng bili? Think about it. Whether you agree or not, there is no correct answer here. It depends on your justification. Whether you agree or not, please explain your justification. Why do you agree and why you do not agree? Then, please enumerate 1 to 3 advantages of this practice. Bakit siya maganda? Enumerate also 1 to 3 disadvantages. Bakit hindi siya maganda? Both sides. Okay? Make sure you answer in the comment section below the YouTube video within 5 days. Stick around. I'll be posting soon video lecture number 13. Bye!